pressure. Zach tucks in and runs. Zach Wilson's loose. Zach Wilson's running. He's got all day. He stays in bounds. Zach Wilson caught it. Zach Wilson gets in the end zone for the touchdown. Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to another Jets Media live stream. It's been a while. We back. We live. I got my brother Jack in the building. We're going to get Ali actually tuning in from Alabama. He's down at the Senior Bowl. So Ali will be tuning in probably like a half hour from now to give us some inside information about what's going on at the Senior Bowl. As you know, the Jets will be coaching that. So we're going to start things off with Jack and I. We're going to get into the chat. We're going to talk about what's going on with the Jets, some off-season plans, some rumors about the draft, some trade scenarios, some free agency talk. We got a lot to get into. So, guys, make sure you smash that thumbs up button on your way into the stream. How you doing today, my man, Jack? How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. This is it's an interesting time for Jets fans. It's a super fun time to be a football fan. Treated to some awesome playoff football for the last couple weeks, but especially this past weekend as the background music kicks in. But yeah, man, feeling good, ready for the stream. I got a peanut butter and jelly right here, ready to go.
There we go.
Got some water, ready to go. Ready to interact with the chat. I already see some loyal fans in here. What's up, Jersey Dolphins? What's up, Matthias? What's up, Jets Forever? Trick the Win, AB, 49er Media, Braden. How's it going, everybody? Happy to be here, man.
What's good? Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. Like Jack just said, hope you guys are enjoying your day. It's been a while since we've been live on Jets Media. I was live last week. I had Jet Central on the channel, and now we're back. Going to be trying to go live every single Monday. Going to dive into some mock drafts. Going to dive into some Jets off-season talk. So the Senior Bowl is what's going to be the biggest talking point for this week for the New York Jets. And we are lucky enough to have our very own Ali down in Alabama. He's going to give us all the inside information, what type of players we should be looking out for. This is a really good opportunity for the Jets to get ahead of schedule in terms of the Senior Bowl. So, Jack, I just want to hear your thoughts about what you think the Senior Bowl can do for the New York Jets, just in terms of the coaching staff and the scouts, because as we know, there's only two teams every single year that gets to be the coaches for the Senior Bowl. Now it's the Detroit Lions and the New York Jets. And our coaching staff has a bunch of draft prospects on their roster. They get to coach this entire week. So how do you think this is going to get an advantage for the Jets heading into the NFL draft, especially when it comes to the coaches, understanding their tendencies, understanding what players fit their system, their values on and off the field. So are you excited for the Senior Bowl? What do you think?
I'm incredibly excited, man. I think it's an amazing opportunity for Robert Saleh and the rest of the Jets coaching staff, for Joe Douglas as well, for everybody within the organization, honestly. It's just a very unique opportunity that doesn't come around, all the time. And I think that, and I like that you mentioned the fact that we have an incredible amount of draft capital, because, it would kind of suck to be a team without many draft picks. And then you go coach a Senior Bowl, you see all these amazing young players and you can't draft any of them. We could draft a lot of these guys. If Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas falls in love with a couple of these young studs. And I think it's going to happen, man. I think we're going to see at least one or two of these guys that Robert Saleh is coaching in this upcoming Senior Bowl becoming a member of the New York Jets. I think it's just bound to happen. I think that's one of the advantages you get of coaching the Senior Bowl, is to get, a firsthand look at these young prospects and see what they can do in a game situation, in practice situations, and not just looking at, highlight tape. Which, usually can't really tell the whole story of a player. So I feel like, it's just an incredible opportunity. It's a clear-cut advantage, honestly, over, 30 other teams in the league. So, especially with all the capital we have in this upcoming draft, I'm loving it, man. Absolutely loving it.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a great week. Actually, this is the first year where the Senior Bowl is not going to be coached by the head coaches. They're actually turning it to assistants. So the Jets actually are giving Ron Middleton the opportunity to be the head coach for the New York Jets. As we know, he was the one that filled in for Robert Saleh when he had COVID. And little did we know, Ron Middleton got the W when he was coaching for the New York Jets, I believe, against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it's going to be Ron Middleton. It's going to be that whole staff coaching the Jets this week. But, Robert Saleh will be there. LaFleur will be there, getting in on all the wide receivers, the tight ends. Man, I'm really excited for the Senior Bowl because for a lot of reasons, but the number one reason for me personally, and I think a lot of Jets fans will agree to this draft class is stacked at a position where the Jets are terrible at, and that's the tight end room. And we have so many great tight ends on the roster for the New York Jets Senior Bowl. Guys like Trey McBride and Ruckert to, bring out of, there. So picture the Jets coaching staff being there, and Joe Douglas, you better draft one of these tight ends in the second round, if not both. I mean, I see some people on Jets Twitter saying, screw it, draft Trey McBride and draft Jeremy Ruckert. Let's get two dynamic tight ends, because you see these offenses around the league, they all run two tight end sets, and even LaFleur runs two tight end sets, and we just don't have the personnel in order for that to happen. I really genuinely believe that the missing pieces to this Jets offense is another big-time wide receiver, and we're going to get into that in this stream, and two dynamic tight ends. Tight ends that can block, and tight ends that can go out there and be the quarterback's best friend for Zach Wilson. So that's what I want to get into, Jack. What do you think is the missing piece of the puzzle for this Jets offense, and what do you think they need to do in this offseason to really, most importantly, surround Zach Wilson with the playmakers and protection needed? When it comes to the tight end position, when it comes to the wide receiver position, the offensive line in general, how do you want to see them attack this offseason when it comes to surrounding Zach Wilson? You want them to be aggressive? How do you want them to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all love that word aggressive, but it really depends on what aggressive means to your particular general manager. Aggressive for Joe Douglas might be going out and signing Corey Davis. That might be an aggressive Joe Douglas move. We need to see an even more aggressive Joe Douglas in this coming offseason, because this is going to be an incredibly important season for Zach Wilson, for Robert Saleh, for LaFleur, for Joe Douglas himself. Name anybody, player, coach, anybody. This is a huge year in terms of where this organization will be in the next 4 or 5 years. So I love the blueprint that Joe Douglas set last year. After the organization completely failed Sam Darnold from a building around him standpoint. I love the statement that Joe Douglas made in the draft last year. He drafted Zach Wilson, and he drafted a player to protect Zach Wilson, a player for Zach Wilson to hand the ball off to, and a player for Zach Wilson to throw it to, before he even touched the defense. And, it's going to be tough to replicate that this year after our defense struggled so much this year. But, we have, draft capital. We have capital. So, obviously the resources are there for Joe Douglas to have a really big, quote unquote, aggressive offseason. But in terms of, what the missing pieces are for this offense, I would definitely say, obviously everybody's thinking it, you already hit it, but tight end for sure, man. I mean, we're looking at a New York Jets team that hasn't really had, a consistently productive tight end, since, the days of, Dustin Keller, and the Rex Ryan days. And that was, 12 years ago at this point, everybody. I mean, I can't believe that's as long ago as it was. Chris Herndon, we thought we had something there. Nothing, it didn't end up coming to fruition. So Zach Wilson needs a tight end. Most, if not all, successful offenses in the league have the tight end as a huge part of the passing game. And, we need to, take that next step as an offense and, give Zach Wilson more reliable hands to get the ball into. And I think, certainly getting a tight end that could also block as well as catch passes is going to be crucial for this offense, because we know it starts through the run game. We got our stud in Michael Carter. We see the offense that the San Francisco 49ers were running all playoffs, a lot of, tosses, a lot of off tackle running, which sets up the play action. And that's where we need to be. That's the offense we're trying to replicate. And, I think that Zach Wilson has a lot higher potential than Jimmy Garoppolo ever did. So, we'll see where we're at. But I think that, tight end, I think it's a huge need. It starts there for us in terms of like number one need for the offense. Although there's obviously a couple more. Throw a receiver in there. Definitely, I expect Joe Douglas to take an offensive lineman this year, early in the draft for sure. But yeah, man, another, a big play type receiver. And obviously we'll get into some names as we move on into the stream. But, receiver, tight end, offensive line, even if it's just depth purposes on the offensive line. But I know Joe Douglas is going to be drafting a starter this year for sure. In the first round. So, yeah, man. I think that,
Yeah, I agree.
I wish there was just one hole on this offense. There's definitely a few holes. We got a long way to go, but I think that Joe Douglas set the offense up for the future very, very well with last year's draft. So if he can hit another draft like he did last year, even half of what he did last year,
Oh my God.
even if we can get, what do we get? 5-6 starters in last year's draft. So even if we can get 3 this year, 3, I don't want to say 2. Give me 3 starters in this draft, Joe D. Let me see it.
I mean,
And,
last year, Joe Douglas somehow laid the foundation for the offense in his first 4 picks of the draft. I mean, we got our starting quarterback, our starting left guard, a starting wide receiver, a starting running back in the same draft class. Like, that is ridiculous. So if you can do half of that and get 2 starters for the offense minimum, that's going to be a big-time plus. So I got some news today from Connor Hughes that we should talk about for the New York Jets. We got some changes to the offensive staff. Matt Cavanaugh and John Beck are not returning. If you guys don't remember, Matt Cavanaugh was the man who replaced Greg Knapp, and he was the quality control coach. So he got signed to a 1-year deal. He's not returning. And John Beck was the guy that is Zach Wilson's personal coach in the offseason. The Jets decided to bring him in, which was a really good move because Zach Wilson he played his best football ever since Beck came to the coaching staff, and Zach Wilson all of a sudden went 5 straight games with no turnover. So obviously Beck was a big time move. But at the end of the day, Beck has other things to do. He's not really, suited to be on a coaching staff, I guess. He just wanted to be there for his rookie season. And Beck will be coaching up Zach Wilson throughout the entire offseason. So it's not like Beck is going to be leaving Zach Wilson anytime soon. So what the Jets we're going to have to do now, Rob Calabrese will be the quarterback coach. Mike LaFleur will obviously remain being the offensive coordinator. And then the Jets need to hire a quality control coach on the offensive staff. That's what's missing, and that's what the Jets will be doing this offseason. And when it comes to the Jets' plan with the coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball, as Connor Hughes was saying on Twitter, if you guys saw that, the hopeful scenario that the Jets are trying to implement here, because, best case scenario, the Jets' offense explodes next year. And then we go into year number 3, and the offense is like on another level. Like, right? That's what we want. This is wishful thinking. Not saying this is going to happen. But then say hypothetically, Mike LaFleur is a hot head coaching candidate. And say Mike LaFleur does get that head coaching candidate in 2 to 3 years. The Jets are trying to, groom the players, or the coaches rather, underneath LaFleur to the point where if we ever do lose LaFleur, it's not really a big deal because we have guys that are in the waiting. So a guy like Rob Calabrese, he would become the offensive coordinator in that role. And then whoever the quality control coach that we hire, he'll be moved up to the quarterback coach. And then we would have to be hiring a new QCC. So that's kind of the system that the Jets are trying to do, set themselves up for the future in case that does happen. We see it all over the place, even within our own division. Brian Daboll just got a head coaching job for the New York Giants. Josh McDaniels just got a head coaching job for the Raiders. So it does happen around the league. Obviously, we need to have a really good offense in order for that to happen. But what Mike LaFleur showed at the end of the season, just in terms of offensive play calls, like it was just, he has the potential if he continues to develop. And hey, his older brother is a head coach, really successful. I know that he crumbled in the playoffs, but still. And the system that we're running is all over the place. Even Mike McDaniels for the 49ers, he's the front runner to get the head coaching job for the Miami Dolphins. So we'll see if that happens. But that's just some news I wanted to talk about when it comes to the coaching staff change. What's your thoughts about this move, Jack? They're obviously looking for a new quality control coach to replace Matt Cavanaugh.
Yeah, man. I think that, it's as long as crucial pieces stay in place, every offseason is kind of a revolving door of names going in and out at the, lesser, I don't want to, call anything less important, but, it's not the head coach that's being switched this year. So, but it does tend to be a revolving door with the assistant coaches and stuff like that. One thing I will say is that I thought it was a strange move hiring John Beck, just because it's something you don't really hear about a lot. And I thought it, to a non-Jets fan, it might have sounded like a bit of a desperation type move. But, clearly the evidence was there in terms of his, impact on Zach Wilson and his performance. So, we'll see what Zach Wilson looks like without John Beck on the sidelines. But, obviously we're all hopeful for Zach Wilson to make a big leap in year 2. Fingers crossed. But yeah, man, as long as we got Robert Saleh, Mike LaFleur calling the plays, Jeff Ulbrich might have some work to do, man. Jeff Ulbrich,
yeah, for sure,
might, has a lot of, challenges ahead of him for sure. But I think that I have faith in Robert Saleh. I have faith in Mike LaFleur for sure.
Happy
And,
birthday to Salah, by the way. Today's his birthday.
Happy birthday to Coach Saleh. You're the man. All gas, no break. And
Let's get this turned around, baby. Come on.
It's only up from here, man. It's only up from here.
Yeah. You were saying something that I wanted to talk about. You were saying
talking about John Beck.
Oh, Jeff Ulbrich. So, Jack and I watched the games this weekend, and obviously the 49ers lost, and I know that we got a 49er media here in the stream. But to me personally, I was rooting for the 49ers, and it's a really good sign that the 49ers are this good still, because the reason why Jets fans should be happy the 49ers are succeeding is because it's proof that the scheme in place and the systems are successful in today's NFL. Because we watched our defense this year be last in the league, right? In a lot of categories. I think a lot had to do with that. Injuries, number one, and lack of talent. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you see the San Francisco 49ers defense succeeding at a high level. That's the same exact scheme, same exact system that they're running, and it's successful. I think the biggest difference between the 49ers defense and the Jets defense is personnel. Is they have an absolute way better front four on the defensive line. If they have a true edge rusher, Nick Bosa, and they got men up front, and that's what we're trying to get. We have that in Carl Lawson as we hope, but he was not able to play. We're hopeful that we can get an edge rusher in this offseason, whether that's due free agency or the draft. So what I'm trying to say is it's a really good sign to see the 49ers still go all the way to the NFC Championship, almost make the Super Bowl. Even when Saleh was there in 2019, that defense carried them to the Super Bowl. So what I'm trying to say is the offense, we all knew the Kyle Shanahan offense. That's the modern day NFL. That's where the NFL's headed. But the defense, it's kind of refreshing to see that it's successful. So then that goes into Jeff Ulbrich, right? He was the play caller, probably the most disappointing coach on the team for the Jets. And Robert Saleh, he's the head coach. But at the same time, I want to see Saleh get his handprints all over this defense more in year number 2, because we really did not see this defense take steps. The only positives to this defense was the developmental piece of it, especially with players in the secondary. I mean, I don't think anybody expected guys like Brendan Eccles and Michael Carter II to play the way they did as rookies, and even Bryce Hall in year number 2. So they did go headfirst into the developmental piece of the defense, but when it comes to year number 2 in the system, we want to see drastic improvements, especially from Jeff Ulbrich. So what's your thoughts, Jack, about the 49ers and their defensive schemes and seeing them be a top defense in the NFL, especially in the playoffs? Because I think their defense was a big reason why they went to the NFC Championship. So what are your thoughts about the 49ers defensive schemes and how the Jets would really implement that into their own heading into year number 2 in the same system with Saleh?
Yeah, they're a fun defense to watch, man. I mean, it's all the things we talked about, as soon as we hired Robert Saleh as our head coach. You watch the 49ers defense out there, and it seems as if their ability to disrupt the quarterback makes life easier on their secondary. And that's one of the biggest points that we all talked about, this past offseason upon hiring Saleh, is, we have young and experienced corners, but they'll probably be all right because of our pass rush. Who would have thought that now a whole season later, it would have been our pass rush that struggled all year and our cornerbacks who were playing lights out. So maybe once we finally get the pass rush where it should be, we will have a crazy, scary defense yet again, like we did 10 years ago.
Like, let's get that defensive line going.
We're only a couple players away, man. I like John Franklin Myers a lot, but not as, an edge rusher, on a consistent basis. He belongs on the inside next to Quinnen Williams, and then it's Carl Lawson, and then it's, one of these studs in the draft, hopefully. So, I think that, this defense is really, really a couple players away from, really being for sure a top 10 unit in the league.
The biggest need on our defense is safety. We don't have anybody at that position. I think the Jets should sign a top safety in free agency, whether that's a Jesse Bates, whether that's a Marcus Williams, or any of those guys. And then I would like them to draft a safety maybe in the 2nd or 3rd round. And I love that to be our safety tandem. One big free agent signing and then one rookie. I feel like that would be a good how they can attack the safety position. Let me know your guys' thoughts about that in the chat, because the safety group is just as big as a whole, just as the tight end group. So getting off the Jets topic real quick, we got someone asking us thoughts on Joey B. What's your thoughts on Joe Burrow, Jack?
I mean, how could you not love Joe Burrow unless you're like a Ravens, Steelers, or Browns fan? Joe Burrow is just such a dude. It's fun to watch him play ball. He's just, the quarterback that I would love if Zach Wilson would turn into, that type of guy. Fantastic player, super fun to watch. I can't believe how calm and collected he looked under pressure in huge moments as a second-year player. It looked like he had been there before and already accomplished what he's already accomplished this year. So hats off to Joey Burrow, and he's a fun player to watch, man.
Yeah,
hopefully he stays healthy, man, because he's coming off of a gnarly knee injury. And if anything like that was to happen to him again, that would really, really suck. So hopefully he stays healthy for a long time because he can win the Bengals a championship, man, for sure.
And we beat that team, baby. We beat a Super Bowl appearance team in the Cincinnati Bengals. And, seeing what Joe Burrow is doing, if you guys, it just makes me realize, man, the Jets really need to get a top receiver. Last year, there's a lot of controversy with the Bengals. They took Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, and a lot of people thought it was a mistake at the time. And now we're seeing that Jamar Chase is probably one of the biggest reasons for Joe Burrow's success because if you just look at the highlights, the amount of times that Jamar Chase takes to the house, we all know what Jamar Chase did. But that really, brings up the conversation about the Jets, that what do they do this offseason when it comes to the wide receiver? And that's the next topic. So, guys, everybody in the chat, I want you to answer this question. How should the Jets get a new wide receiver? I love Elijah Moore. I like Corey Davis. I think he did have a disappointing year number one with the Jets. If he can stay healthy, I think that he has what it takes to have a bounce back year in year number two with the Jets. And then obviously the number three, which is a big priority for the Jets, is re-signing Braxton Berrios. That's not guaranteed. If we do not re-sign Braxton Berrios, then we've really got an issue on our hands because we really have to go find that new gadget player in our kick returner. So let's say hypothetically we bring back Braxton Berrios. We have Corey Davis and Elijah Moore as our three receivers, and we're looking for another receiver, right? And this receiver should be a big-time upgrade. It should be somebody that could be potentially a number one receiver. So there's three different ways that we can tackle this. It's either we sign one of free agency, like an Allen Robinson, maybe like a Godwin, or Davante Adams. Not happening. Not even going to say that. Those are just the receivers that are going to be available in the free agency market. The second option, the Jets trading for a receiver. Maybe guys like Calvin Ridley. Maybe there's a guy like Amari Cooper. Maybe even DK Metcalf. Those are just wide receivers. That's all rumors and speculation about hitting the trade market. I think the only realistic one of those three is Calvin Ridley. But, the mental aspect is really the thing that scares me away from Calvin Ridley. Or number three, you draft a receiver early in the draft at number 10, like a guy like Treylon Burks that would fit this system beautifully. Or even a guy like Garrett Wilson, who is a route running monster, creates separation with ease, speedster. Or you draft someone early in the second round. So there's no doubt that we need a receiver big time because we see these offenses like the Bengals and the Bills and the Chiefs, especially in the AFC. They're high powered. They got explosive playmakers everywhere, and we need to surround Zach Wilson with the talent needed. So, Jack, if you're the Jets, what do you want them to do? What do you think they will do when it comes to upgrading that wide receiver position? Is it a signing one of free agency? I mean, I feel like they're going to add to this position. I don't think they're just going to get one receiver in the offseason. But when it comes to that one big-time guy that we can see as a future wide receiver one next to Elijah Moore for the future, how do you want them to do it?
It's such a tough question, man. It's such a tough question.
Let's read everyone in the chat what they're saying as you speak. Go on.
Here we are, with the fourth pick in the draft and the 10th pick in the draft. And so badly do I want to draft a defensive lineman and an offensive lineman in that first round. But then the other day I was in your basement and we were watching some tape of Treylon Burks, and he just looks like, everything that Denzel Mims should have been, plus he's just much more jacked and scary looking. He can outrun you. He can go up and catch it over your head. And I feel like, with the free agent names that have been mentioned, obviously they're all good players, but I wouldn't want to tie up any more big money. Not that we're paying Corey Davis through the roof, but I don't know if I want to tie up any more free agent money in the wide receiver position right now when we have the amount of draft capital that we do per se. So if we could go out and get a guy like Treylon Burks in the first round, you could really sell me on that, man. Like, you really could. Like I said, I have, a fantasy of going edge rusher and offensive lineman or vice versa. But, I think that Zach Wilson clearly needs weapons. You look at teams around the league, and they're just scary wide receivers all over the place, and we're kind of Elijah Moore could be that guy. But if we just need to give Zach Wilson all the help and talent around him that we can get at that position. And I think, when you're a team like us with capital that we do, a guy like Burks would be fire. And I see a lot of people agreeing with me. So I guess that's a good take.
Yeah, Treylon Burks, he would fit this system so beautifully because he could be our version of Deebo Samuel in a way. And even though Elijah Moore has those those traits, and the reason why I say Deebo is because, like I said earlier in the stream, we're basically trying to replicate the 49ers systems, basically because when we hired Robert Saleh, he took all the systems. We got LaFleur from them. LaFleur learned under Kyle Shanahan. You guys know that stuff. So whenever I watch the 49ers just play football, whether it's on offense or defense, I'm just really looking at it and say, this is how the Jets should be. Hopefully, that this is the blueprint to the success. And the way that they use Deebo Samuel is to the point where you're like, whoa, Treylon Burks has that potential, kind of a little bigger than Deebo. And listen, Deebo Samuel is a once in a generational type of talent, just in terms of his versatility, being a runner and a wide receiver. But I think Elijah Moore shows to be a guy that can take those end arounds, be really elusive, be really versatile when it comes to lining up in the slot, lining up on the outside, lining up as a wingback. And Treylon Burks fits that mold. And if the Jets want to go out there, and obviously there's so much that's going to lead up to the draft. We don't know what we're doing at free agency. We don't know what we're doing in the trade market. So we will see what happens when it comes to that time. But Treylon Burks at number 10, I'm falling in love with it. Listen, if we go heavy defense in free agency, and say the top two edge rushers are off the board, like Thibodeau and Hutchinson, and at number 4, I would not be upset at all with drafting an offensive lineman like Ike Ekwonu at 4, or Evan Neal at 4, the best offensive lineman available at 4, and then getting a guy with like Burks at 10. And that's just Joe Douglas saying the number one priority for me to save my job is protecting Zach Wilson, surrounding this man with talent, surrounding this man with protection by getting the offensive lineman you need at number 4 in Ike Ekwonu or an Evan Neal or Cross, and whoever Joe Douglas falls in love with. And that's it, the hypothetical, if Thibodeau and Hutchinson are off the board, because if either of those guys, I think that's going to be the move. And then at number 10, you got a receiver. And in the first round, all of a sudden, the foundation we already have with Zach Wilson, Michael Carter, Elijah Moore, Elijah Vera-Tucker, and Mekhi Becton. And then you add another offensive lineman who's potentially going to be the franchise right tackle or the insurance to Becton potentially still having injury concerns. And you add another dynamic playmaker and a guy like Treylon Burks. So that's kind of what I would love to see. There's a lot of other scenarios that's in my head that I would love. Obviously, there's so much stuff to get into when it comes to this offseason. I tweeted out today, which is a pretty controversial take, but I would love for the Jets to also say they don't want to draft a receiver and they trade for a guy like Calvin Ridley. And if they do trade for Calvin Ridley, then what I would do at number 10 is draft Tyler Linderbaum, because I know that a lot of Jets fans are against that move because we don't need a center. We need playmakers. But, hey, Calvin Ridley's that playmaker. And then you go out there and get a guy like Linderbaum. And then at number 4, maybe we get an edge rusher, or maybe we even trade back. Who knows? There's a lot of scenarios that we're going to get into this entire offseason. All of us debating, saying, no, we don't need a center. Yes, we need a center. No, we need a wide receiver. No, we need a wide receiver. So I'm really excited to get into this controversial take because, Jets Twitter is always going to be button heads about who to take at what pick. So, guys, we got over 100 people in the stream right now. Make sure you guys smash that like button on your way into the stream so we get as many Jets fans in here to continue this great Jets talk throughout this Jets live stream. We're going to have Ali tuning in anytime soon to talk about the Senior Bowl. So Senior Bowl talk will be coming. Ali is actually in Alabama as we speak. He will be covering the practices. So we're going to get into all the top prospects that the Jets will be coaching during the Senior Bowl in the next couple of minutes. So stay tuned for that. And make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. Thank you, Fire Sports. Appreciate you, my man, for hitting that like button. So yeah, man, it's going to be crazy to see what happens. I see a lot of people in the chat saying what they want. A lot of people are having their own personal takes.
Little debates in the chat are always dope.
Oh, of course.
Love it. But yeah, man, I think, let's face facts. No team, is going to be successful having the 32nd power ranked defense. But this is an offensive league. So I think that, surrounding Zach Wilson, no matter how poor our defense is, I think that surrounding Zach Wilson is still going to be priority number one for Joe Douglas this offseason. It still should be priority number one for Joe Douglas this offseason. And, spend the money, Joe. I don't want to hear that we have, 20 million left over cap. Just spend the money, man. Let's get, there's no reason why we can't have a very successful draft and a very successful free agency. I mean, we have the resources to do it. So many teams do not. I mean, what did we hear on the broadcast last night? The Rams, as of right now, don't have a first round pick until 2024. And here we are for the second year in a row with 2 picks in the first round. So, I think Joe Douglas has every resource to, surround Zach with talent. So I really hope he does, man. So the more I think about it, if one of these big name edge rushers, either Hutchinson or Thibodeau, can somehow fall to us at 4, then that's the pick for sure. But other than that, I would say best available offensive lineman and, maybe best available wide receiver, man.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of fun leading up to this first round. There's going to be so many mock drafts, so many controversy takes.
Exactly.
I mean, the Senior Bowl is going to be a lot. It's going to be a big deciding factor as well where the Jets are going to go. Elliot agrees 100% with you. Great to see someone agree with you, Jack, right?
Let's go.
But yeah, there's going to be so much to get into. We're trying to get Elite and on the stream right now. I think he's having some Alabama internet difficulties. So blame Bama for that one. We got our insider at the Senior Bowl trying to join the stream. So hopefully we can get that. He can get in here so we can talk about some Senior Bowl content coming your way anytime soon. That's going to be great. That's going to be a lot of fun, the Senior Bowl. So when it comes to this Jets offseason, what I want to see, just in a nutshell in terms of how they approach it, I really want Joe Douglas to go all in to be a competitive team. I'm really sick of the whole, scenario of the future. The year after will be the year. The year after would be the year. Like, me, realistically speaking, and let me know if you agree with this, Jack, and everybody else in the chat. When it comes to the Jets blueprint and where they're at right now, I feel like next year is a year where I want to see improvement. And I want to see, the Jets be competitive. And I don't really expect playoffs next year, but I want to see the Jets be a competitive football team, Zach Wilson making a leap, and the defense actually taking a big step. But when it comes to the Jets in year number 3, which is 2 years from now, that's where I want the Jets to go all in when it comes to winning the damn division. I'm not expecting them to win the division next year, but the year after that, I am. And what I'm trying to say is Joe Douglas really needs to understand that this offseason is so important for the future of this franchise that we need to make sure that we're going all into surrounding this team to be competitive next year. I do not want to go into this year because there's no more sugarcoating it. We need to win some games. Next year, we went over the rebuilding year. We went over that already. We knew it going in. We had a rookie quarterback. We knew the growing pains are going to happen, and it sucked, but we expected it, so it didn't really hurt as badly. But this year, we need to see improvement. I'm not expecting playoffs, but we need to see some improvement. And Ali is joining the show. Ali, can you hear me, my man?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear, brother.
Hopefully you stay here before you get lagged out.
How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good, man.
Before we get into your thoughts about all the Senior Bowl stuff, I got to get into a quick super chat. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. It means a lot to the channel. If Hutch and Thibodeau are off the board at 4, do you think they should trade back and take Linderbaum at 10 and a receiver with the later pick? It's interesting. Very interesting. So
it's an interesting take.
I feel like at number 4, what do you think about this, Jack?
I feel like I'm just weary as to whether or not teams are going to be trading up for players this year. I mean, we know it's not a quarterback draft. The 2 best players in the draft are most likely going to go off the board at 1 and 2. Unless the Jaguars decide to take Evan Neal, which there is a good chance they might. Either way, I feel like the most likely scenario is that Hutchinson and Thibodeau will be off the board at 4. I just don't see, who are teams going to be dying to trade up and get, and, give up that capital to trade up in the first round and get. I just don't see it this year. There's no quarterback to go and grab that early. I don't see it happening personally.
Yeah, I agree. I think if that's the case, the Jets stay put at 4. We take Aquanu. We take whoever Joe Douglas falls in love with when it comes to the offensive line prospect. Hey, he can love Charles Cross. I mean, there's a lot of different offensive linemen that's going to be available at number 4. And that's the great thing about being a number 4 is like we're going to get a trenchman, whether it's on offense or defense, on the line of scrimmage in this draft at number 4. That could be a foundational piece for the franchise future. And that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. Let's hope that the Jets, whoever it is, it's going to be a big time player. So thank you again so much for the $5 donation. It means a lot to the channel. Hyping the chat for this super chat. Appreciate you. So Ali, welcome to the stream, my man. You're in Alabama. Tell us about it. How you feeling? What's it like? When are you starting? When's the first practice? So let's hear it.
Yeah, man, I'm tired. I had a 5 a.m. flight from Philly, and I kind of was just on, like, I laid over as well. So I got here about like 11 o'clock our time, so 1 hour back. So I'm kind of like lacking sleep right now, but it's awesome being here. It's something that I always wanted to be here. I dreamed of being here, and then I went to go get my credentials and everything. There was hype there. There's a lot of people ready to go, and a lot of people are excited about the people that are going to be in this Senior Bowl. I think there's a lot of talent in the Senior Bowl. At the offensive end, in the trenches, everywhere there's talent. So, we've seen a lot of talent come out of these Senior Bowl games, and with the Jets also being there as coaching half of them, it's going to be a big step for us to figure out who they draft, because they'll have a week of practice with them. They'll have a week of training with them, and it's a good sign, because I feel like what I've heard from a lot of people is that they love literally almost every player that's coming in the Senior Bowl this year, because they all have like potential of being great, they all have like grit of being better and taking to the next stage. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. The practice is tomorrow, the first practice, and then Wednesday and then Thursday, and then the game's on Saturday. So yeah, I mean, the hype is there. I think media is still coming in still, and everyone's still piling in. The players are all here. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait until tomorrow, because they're going to start from the morning. Nagy's going to come out there, the executive director, tomorrow, talking about the Senior Bowl a little bit, and then it's game time. So yeah.
Yeah, so when it comes to the Senior Bowl, Ali, which players on the Jets roster for the Jets coaching staff are you most excited for, and you think that the Jets can potentially actually draft when it comes to the upcoming draft? Because the Jets got a lot of interesting people on their roster, whether it's a tight end room, whether it's a linebacker room, even offensive line, and a lot of Jets fans are eager to know, because I know you've done a lot of extensive research when it comes to the Senior Bowl. So is there any prospects in particular that really jumps off the board to you?
For me, obviously the tight ends. Obviously, we'll get back to that later. I think everyone's talking about the tight ends that we have on that roster, but it's more offensive line. I like Zion Johnson from Boston College. He was top-ranked interior lineman for this draft, and he's very intriguing. He's very intriguing in the way where he can step up to the plate. If someone goes down, he won't say anything, and he did that in college. He took someone else's role and was succeeding at it. He opens up lanes. He's a exceptional run blocker, and a very technical pass rusher. I think that's the correct word to describe him. I think he's a guy that I'm very excited for, especially on the offensive line. And if the Jets can somehow, draft him, I'll be ecstatic, because I think Johnson doesn't have injury. He's not injury prone, and he knows he's a leader on a football team as well. And obviously, we know that Joe Douglas likes leaders, and that's who he drafts. So I think Zion Johnson fits that narrative of a Joe Douglas type pick. I also like Arnold. I forgot. I always butcher his last name. Ebiketie. He's a defensive end from Penn State.
Penn State.
He's insane. He's got length. He's got speed. He has a wicked first step. He has a lot of closing speed. He has the length actually helps him, is more effective in a certain way. He's a bull rush. He's a definition of a pass rusher. And it's awesome to see. Like I just said, there's a lot of talent on this football field this week, and see these Penn State guys trying to, we all know Thibodeau, we know Hutchinson, but what about the other guys, right? What about there's other guys than those two guys that could go up in the rankings, and I think he could possibly do that because right now people are projecting him late first round, early second. So we'll see how that goes with that, but I think he can actually move his rankings up after the Senior Bowl performance because I think he has the capability of improving. And then my last guy, obviously, McGribe. He's the guy that everyone has their eyes on. All Jeff fans want him. All mock drafts have him mocked to us already. Jets need tight ends. It's simple. And the Jets are working with some great tight ends. Great tight ends right now. And I wouldn't – if they don't get a free agent tight end, I could see them going 2 tight ends in this draft because that's how desperate that position group is. I do like Jake Ferguson. I like Jeremy Ruckert. For a wide receiver standpoint, Jahan Dotson, he's really good. He's a speedster. He can catch, and he's very underrated in a way from a lot of people.
For sure.
So I think there's a lot of playmakers that the Jets will be working specifically with, and they have a good chance of getting this draft on the good path because again, I heard you when I was behind the scenes. The Jets need to start winning football games. They have to start winning football games next year. There's no excuses anymore. We need to play meaningful football in December, and they need to they have an extra chance because if they hit on this draft, they have a good chance of winning football games.
For sure. And we saw the rookie class last year it was to the point where our rookies are our best players. And is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? It's a good thing because that means the future is only going to get better and better and better. We got a nice donation from Dropacabra. Nate Hobbs from Illinois is a big sleeper at cornerback. Yeah, man, I've done tape on all the corners. It's a deep class. I really think the Jets, if they're not going to take a corner in the first or second round, I can see them, taking a stud in even round 3 or 4. I mean, hey, we got Brandon Eccles in the round 6. That man's a stud. We got Michael Carter II in round 5. That man's a stud. Appreciate the donation, my man. So, Ali, I think one of my favorite players in the Senior Bowl that you mentioned is the first guy. And I just feel like when it comes to the Senior Bowl, right, there's so many people that's going to be, looked at when it comes to the tight end room, the wide receiver room. When it comes to Zion Johnson, right, I feel like he could potentially be our pick in round number 2. I feel like he could be the guy that would be the future right guard. I mean, listen, it really depends on what the offense, what I'm trying to say is what we do in the first round, right? Free agency. There's so much hypotheticals that's going to go into what we do in round number 2. But when it comes to Zion Johnson, I've done a lot of homework on him as well. And the Jets are going to have an up-close personal perspective of him. And knowing Joe Douglas, why not draft that man in the second round if we don't have, the future right guard? Because we know that we have Elijah Vera-Tucker at left guard. We have Mekhi Becton at left tackle, George Fenn at right tackle. We got Connor McGovern at center. I don't really know if McGovern's the future at that interior offensive line position because even Tyler Linderbaum could be a prospect that Joe Douglas just falls in love with. But if they do not go Linderbaum in round 1, I would not be shocked if the Jets get Zion Johnson in round number 2. Jack, would you be on board with drafting a guard in round number 2 and a guy in Zion Johnson who's looked at as one of the best interior offensive linemen in this draft class, and the Jets are going to have a really up-close perspective? I saw actually on Twitter today they were talking about Zion Johnson, and Damian Woody was like, yes, make that guy a Jet. So what are your thoughts?
Dude, you're asking me if I want Joe Douglas to draft more offensive linemen? Yes, 100%. Yes.
See, there's so much that's going to go into it. Imagine the Jets take, hypothetically, Ekwonu at 4, and then 10, we get Burks. And then in round number 2, we get Zion Johnson, and then our second round pick, we get McBride. 4 straight offensive picks. Sorry, Solid Holbrick, your defense is going to stink. But who cares? Because our offense is about to be competing with Kansas City and Cincinnati and Buffalo.
That's what I'm saying, bro. If we could put up 30 points of our own every week, then, our defense can let up 30. You know what I'm saying?
The one thing that these playoffs taught me personally, the number 1 defense in the NFL and the Buffalo Bills got absolutely destroyed by the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, what did that do for them? I'm not saying defense is nothing. I mean, defense still wins championships.
Absolutely not.
But in today's league, especially in the AFC, where unfortunately we are in, we have to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson still in the AFC. We all know who's in the AFC in terms of the future, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. I really would love the Jets to go all in on offense in the draft and go all in on defense in free agency. What do you think about that, Ali? How do you want the Jets to go about it? Do you want to see a healthy balance of both? Obviously, they're going to do both in the draft, but when it comes to early in the draft, do you want them to go defense heavy? Because the one thing about this draft is it's a very good defensive draft class. So you do want to get some blue chip guys early. If there's a guy that they fall in love with, you take him. And if he's available, you take him. But at the end of the day, the most important player in my eyes is still Zach Wilson and surrounding him with talent, especially seeing all these offensive powerhouses in the AFC that we're witnessing in Kansas City and Cincinnati and all these other teams.
Yeah, I think what they're going to do is they're going to flip-flop, especially in free agency and the draft. I think LaFleur is going to come in and say, I want offensive guys. I want these guys now because he is going to go in his second year and he wants to take the offense to the next level. He's going to need playmakers that he wants on the football field. I think he'll be much more involved in the process. Now, I think Robert Saleh is going to be I need some guys for my defense because the defense was pretty bad last year. It was pretty horrendous. So the Jets can snag some pretty good defenders in free agency. They can get a cornerback. There's a couple of safeties that they could grab. But overall, I think they're gonna be evenly done for the entire draft and free agency. I think there's so many holes still that they need to fill. And what we've learned from these teams, and watching the playoffs, you can't have enough talent. You just keep adding talent to get better and better football team. And the Jets, I don't care who their wide receivers are. If you get another chance of getting another 3 wide receivers, go get them because you need to improve your offense. You need to get better at offense. And you just got to keep improving your football team. And you learn from all the playoff teams, they have talent. That Buffalo Bills receiver had 4 touchdowns. We went off and they still lost. And they still lost, man. They still lost. So, you need offensive firepower if you're going to make some noise in the playoffs and try to go for that ring, So, again, I think they're going to be flip-flopping their way. But I think LaFleur is going to be really in everyone's ear this time around. I think he'll be more involved because I think they're going to ask him, how is this offense going to take off and how are we going to start winning some football games? I think that's a good direction if LaFleur steps up in and gets his football players in there that he wants.
Yeah, man, I'm literally all on board, and it really hurts me. It pains me to say it because us as Jets fans, all we've known for so long is defense first. We've always been the defensive-minded team, but now it's just transitioning to an offensive firehouse of a league, and you're seeing all these other teams, and you're just like, wow. We need to be able to go toe-to-toe, and it's going to be a shootout because even the best defenses in the league are getting torched. So at the end of the day, when it comes to the draft, I want Zach Wilson to be able to have players to build around for the future. And Joe Douglas did such a sensational job in last year's draft class by drafting 3 straight offensive players after he took Wilson, and Elijah Vera-Tucker for protection, and Elijah Moore for his receiver, and Michael Carter for the running back. Now, the next thing he needs to do in this year's draft class, get him a tight end to grow with, get him another receiver to grow with, and hell, give him another running back to grow with. I would love to draft a running back in the round 5 or round 4 so we can have Michael Carter and whoever that rookie coming in to be the tandem for the future. And, of course, stacking up that offensive line. I genuinely believe that the New York Jets should obviously not ignore defense in the draft, but I really believe that offense should be the focal point when it comes to building this foundation for the future, because we want to be able to put up points. Something the Jets have not been able to do consistently for my whole life. I meant Joseph Kirby, cornerback, Illinois, not Obbs. He's another great one. I mean, listen, there's a lot of deep corners. Thank you so much for another $2 dono. Appreciate you. Jose with the $5 dono. Love the content, guys. Ekwonu, Hamilton, Jay Williams, Z Johnson. Is that your 4 guys you want the Jets to draft? Listen, if that's the 4.
We can snag Jameson Williams in the second round.
I would do that. I mean, that's really forward thinking. That's like, all right, we'll sacrifice Jameson not being able to play as a rookie, and we're going to trust that he's going to be able to be back and ready to go in year number 2. It's going to be interesting to see who takes the flyer on Jameson Williams. And then Zion Johnson. I mean, if Kyle Hamilton falls to 10, I don't know, maybe. This is interesting little mock.
I'm honestly afraid that the Chiefs are going to take him because they have such a late draft pick, or maybe even the last draft pick. And then their offense is just going to continue to be scary forever, basically.
Yeah, like that's a perfect type of team to take a flyer on him. Like they're still going to win. Like he's just going to sit there and be their new Tyreek Hill. Jose, appreciate the $5 dono. These 4, I'd be here for it. And then we got another $10 dono from Mike. What's good, Mike? Appreciate the $10 dono. It's a very generous review. Late to the party. Got to be honest. Love you guys, but y'all are crazy. We need playmakers on defense. And San Fran and Los Angeles showed that. We need a premier edge, linebacker, safety, then go offense. Yeah, Mike, this is the problem that we have. We had a lot of holes all over the roster. And you're right. If you look, it's kind of crazy because if you look at the NFC playoffs and you look at the AFC playoffs, it was a kind of a tale of 2 different conferences, like legitimately. NFC was all about who has the best defense, who has the best dominant the line of scrimmage. And we saw the 49ers defense just take over, shut down Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, their special teams won in that game as well. But then you saw the Rams versus Niners, and that defense battle was great to see. And then you see the AFC, and it was just more about the offensive firepower. And the reason why I say offense is because we are in the AFC, and we have to be able to be competitive. But listen, Mike, defense is going to be a huge priority in this offseason for sure. In the draft, no doubt. I can see where you're coming from. What do you think about this, Ali? Because it's going to be really interesting to see how the Jets balance both sides of the ball attacking this offseason, because the Jets did have historically a terrible defense, but we're still trying to build around Zach Wilson properly.
But we also had a lot of injuries. We had a lot of guys on that defense that were not playing all year.
And we also, sorry to cut you off, Ali, but people forget the first 5 games of the season, the defense was keeping us in those games. It was the offense that was atrocious to start off the year, because we had, a first installment of Mike LaFleur and Zach Wilson, and everything was, took a little while for the offense to take flight. The defense was carrying this team for the first 5 games. We didn't win because of them, but they were good. And that's when they were semi-healthy. And then they started getting injured, and then it just went pew. So I just had to bring that up because statistically speaking, they were bottom of the league, but they did show a lot of good signs of in the beginning of that year on the defense.
Yeah, I think it was more of especially the second. If you take the secondary for a second, there were growing pains there. But in the end, later in the season, you saw them make plays. You saw Echols make play. You saw Bryce Hall make plays. All these guys were making plays at the end of the season. And that's a positive sign, especially because they're rookies, second-year players making plays. That's what I think Salah is trying to build. He's trying to build from scratch. And build up. They're going to need a couple more playmakers on defense, but I don't think the defense, I think the rankings just destroyed us. I don't think we're that bad of a defense. I really don't. I think if we had Carl Lawson, that season, we lost Vinny Curry, we lost other guys throughout the season, and that kind of hurt that defense a lot. So I think when everyone's back healthy, there'll be a much better football team. Yes, they're going to have to add maybe another edge rusher, or maybe a safety, depending on what they do with Marcus May. Maybe bring another cornerback in the mix, linebacker. The Jets they could be a good defense by next year if they really wanted to. They just gotta bring the guys back that got hurt, make them play a full season without getting hurt again, and just let them play because the young guys were making plays. Bryce Hall was making plays. You saw him. Yes, he made mistakes, but everyone was
Second in the
making
league in
mistakes on the
forced
field.
incompletions. Price.
But he was with guys. He was there. He was making plays. He made some great plays. And if he got burned by an elite wide receiver. But then he would also make a play later in the game defending that elite wide receiver himself. So it's growing pains. It's pretty much them learning together as a team. So I'm not too bad about that defense because I think they could fix it right away if they really wanted to.
I agree, man. And Jack, anything you'd like to say on this super chat? And then I know you got to go. I'll let you go after your take on this Mike super chat.
Yeah, for sure, man. Mike, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. And I love the points you guys both made. This defense, it's not like this defense was ignored coming into this season by any means, LaMarcus Joyner, very capable, more than capable veteran. We sign him. He never sees the field. Marcus May, coming off of his best season as a New York Jet, gets hurt a few games in. He doesn't see the field again. We got to it took us half the year to figure out that Jared Davis can't play football anyway. We lost Carl Lawson before he could ever play a snap in a game. It's not like this defense was ignored going into this year. And the fact of the matter is, after we drafted 4 offense, we drafted defense until the draft was over. So the defense was very much made a priority last year. And we were, decimated by injuries, and we got guys like Quincy Williams out there starting at linebacker for us, and that's not a knock on Quincy. He's just, not a starting linebacker. He did great things for us this year. I like him as a depth rotational type player. But the fact of the matter is that, CJ Mosley needs somebody out there with him. The defensive line needs a real edge presence. Hopefully we already have one with Carl Lawson, but we need 2 actual edge presences. We got screwed over this year, man. For lack of a better term, we absolutely got screwed over on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not putting the blame on. I'm not, leaving the Jets themselves without blame. Obviously, Ulbrich and Saleh, they need to perform better in their roles. And these players that we do already have faith in, like a Quinnen Williams or a JFM or a Foley, although he probably won't be here next year. Those guys, could have stepped up a little bit more in their roles that they played this season. So, nobody's without blame, but we absolutely got screwed this year. And with that, boys, I love the both of you. Everybody in the chat, love you guys as well.
Jack, appreciate you, man. Everyone say later to Jack in the chat.
He's killing it down there in mobile, bro. That's insane. And I'm very happy for you. And good luck, man. Peace out, everybody.
Jack's got to handle some music. So, guys, stay tuned. Original Jack music on the way.
OG Jack McGalley music is coming at you, baby.
Yes, sir. Peace out, Jack. All right. Jack's got to go work on some music. If you guys don't know, Jack is actually a musical artist. So if you guys want to check out Jack's music, check out his Instagram, Jack McGalley Music. That's Jack, Megale Music. If you're interested to hear Jack sing, he's indeed very talented. I'm not just saying that because I'm his friend. Man, what do we get into now, man? Let's get into some Jets Q&A. How about that to finish off the stream? Does that sound good, Ali? We'll get into the chat, see what these people want to talk about. We got the Senior Bowl prospects on the screen. We got the logo. We got Ruckert. We got Lloyd. We got McBride, all future Jets. So, guys, everybody in the chat, anybody that wants to ask Ali and myself any questions regarding the Jets, whether it's Senior Bowl related questions, whether it's free agency, whether it's the trades, whether it's the draft, or whether it's talking about last year or anybody on the team, feel free. We're going to try to get to as many people in the chat. And when it comes to any questions you guys might ask. And here's Jack's Instagram if you guys want to check it out. If you want to check out, see his music. He's also on Apple Music. If you want to just listen to it, type in his name. How's it like in mobile? Is it different down there? I've never been to Alabama, Ali.
Yeah, it is. It is different. It's a lot much more low key than Jersey, New York, and stuff. It's kind of. I've been only here for a couple hours, though, but Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like just going to see, going to see agents and stuff. Like they're walking in trying to get like coaches and stuff like that, and other like content creators and stuff that are doing it. So it was pretty cool to see that actually.
That is dope.
Obviously, we're gonna see a lot. I'm gonna see a lot more people tomorrow when it actually starts. So it's been fun.
That's sick, man.
Fun so far.
I can't wait to hear all your reports about it. Jay asks, are Mims and Pirine done? They should be.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is interesting. Obviously, the first draft class for Joey D did not go as well as the 2021 draft class. I think that they're done. If you want me to just completely blatantly honest, I think that Denzel Mims is just for whatever reason not there mentally. I think he has a lot of talent that he's just not maximizing. That's whether it's because of passion for the game, lack of effort, lack of urgency. He just simply does not have it mentally. I think that's pretty obvious. We've seen Denzel Mims this year get every single opportunity you could possibly ask for him to take advantage of and prove to be a piece of this team for the future. And he's did nothing else but not do that. And when it comes to LaMichael Pirine, I think it's a proof that he does not fit the scheme. He was an Adam Gase pick in terms of fitting that mold of a running back for that specific scheme. Because we saw this year when Michael Carter went down with an injury, when Tevin Coleman went down with an injury, and Ty Johnson went down, it wasn't LaMichael Pirine who got called up. It was Austin Walter. So I think that's kind of proof that LaMichael Pirine and Denzel Mims' days are kind of numbered. I think they're going to go into training camp with the Jets. Maybe they'll be, roster cuts when it comes to that at that point. But we'll see what happens on that front. There's not really too much to get into on that one. Let's get into the next question. Do you think Joe Douglas trades pick number 10? What do you think about that, Ali? Is Joe Douglas going to trade out of that pick? Is he going to trade it for a player? Is he going to trade it back? Or is he going to pick someone at 10?
It's really hard to say. It is.
Yeah.
I don't see him doing it twice the same type of move. Obviously he went up, but I just don't see it happening. I think he's gonna find guys that he likes and just draft them. And I think he needs to do that. I don't think he can play chess this year. He needs to find talented guys on the football team. I don't think he should play chess because he needs to put a winning football team out there. So I think he needs to draft someone.
Facts. I agree. Let's see. Davis fits the offensive scheme. Which Davis you talking about? Corey Davis? Or I don't know which Davis you're alluding to there. Let's see. Man, there's so many players in this offseason that I'm just like, I want on the team, whether that's through free agency or the draft. And it's so hard to like we're going to have so much time, guys. And just so you know, all the mock drafts that's coming out, whether that's this week, next week, the week after, it's going to be so different in like a month or two, especially after Senior Bowl. So that's why I feel like that's going to be different. All the mock drafts, players are going to be skyrocketing up draft mocks. Some players are going to be plummeting on mocks. There's going to be a lot of players that Jets fans are going to fall in love with as season goes on. And there's so many controversial people when it comes to Jets fans that we'll get into, of course. I see some people talking about Ashtyn Davis. Can Ashtyn Davis be developed? The thing about Ashtyn Davis, I think that he showed great coverage skills this year, but not good tackling and angles because we gave up a lot of big runs. And whenever you see a running back take it to the house, yes, that's a defensive line's problem and the linebacker's problem, but it's also up to the secondary to make sure that they do not get past that next level and take it to the house. And there's a lot of times where Ashtyn Davis got absolutely burned on that front. I don't think Ashtyn Davis has made me feel comfortable saying like, all right, he can be our starting safety next year at all. I think that Ashtyn should be on the roster, and I think that he should be more of a depth role next year for the Jets. I just cannot say with confidence going into next year with him as a starting safety, Would you agree?
Yeah, I think he's more of like a special teams backup.
Yeah, I agree. This is a good question. Do you think we keep Keelan Cole?
I would love to keep Keelan Cole.
Keelan Cole is he had an interesting year with us. If I'll say this, if we do not re-sign Keelan Cole, then the Jets are going to replace him with someone very similar, a 1-year deal, veteran that's just going to provide depth. So why not keep someone that's been in the system before? if we re-sign Keelan Cole, he's going to be wide receiver 5 or 6. So re-sign him, knows the system, great locker room guy. But at the same time, he did not do a lot of great things for us. He had a lot of drops in crucial moments. He had 1 touchdown and that last game of the season. I don't think it should be the priority to keep Keelan Cole. But if we do move on from him, we got to replace him with another veteran. The priority should be Braxton Berrios. Let's just hope he's not asking for too much money. All right. Who's your favorite prospect? My favorite prospect that's been growing on me the most, and it's kind of the majority, but still, I've been watching his tape every day pretty much, is Treylon Burks. I just feel like Treylon Burks is exactly the missing piece to the puzzle of this wide receiver room for the Jets, because we got our speedy guy in Elijah Moore, a gadget piece that can, create separation. We got Corey Davis, more of a perimeter threat that is, just a veteran out there. Go up there, get the 50-50 balls. And then Treylon Burks is pretty much everything. And I just feel like he would complement those 3 beautifully, especially if you re-sign Braxton Berrios. That's my guy. Do you have a favorite prospect, Ali, that is like your number 1?
Not yet. I do like Devin Lloyd a lot from Utah.
Do you think he'll be worth a pick at number 10?
He's going to go high. He's an early first-round pick. And he's going to show that in the Senior Bowl. I think that's one guy I feel like he's going to boost himself where he can go like top 10, top 15.
Yeah, I think that Devin Lloyd fits this Jets defense beautifully. I think I would compare him to a guy like Fred Warner. And if you guys know, Fred Warner was developed by the 49ers and Robert Saleh. And Robert Saleh was a former linebackers coach, so that's kind of his position. So if the Jets fall in love with Devin Lloyd, and they want to go defense in the draft, I wouldn't be shocked if we take him at number 10. I think that's a pretty much outlier pick that a lot of Jets fans are not really talking about. I know some Jets fans are, but I would not be shocked if they fall in love with this man this week and they understand that, the linebacker position is not really set up for the future. CJ Mosley coming off a phenomenal year, individually speaking. But outside of him, we got Quincy Williams, who I think we got an absolute gem in. We did draft 2 linebackers last year, and Hamza Nasruddin and Jamie Sherwood. And Sherwood actually had some impactful plays, but then he went down with an Achilles, obviously. So if the Jets want to get the linebacker for the future and they fall in love with Devin Lloyd, I wouldn't be shocked if they took him at 10. 2020 draft is not looking good. Bust? Hey, man, I think the 2020 draft class, is definitely not looking good. The only positives coming out of there is obviously Bryce Hall. He's the best player there. Mekhi Becton, I think, is going to be the biggest deciding factor on that draft class because he's the first-round pick. And I really genuinely believe that the only thing holding Mekhi Becton back is injury. I think that when he's on the field and he's in shape, people need to realize how great of a football player this guy actually is. If you see what he did his rookie season, that's all you need to watch. I mean, as a rookie, he went toe-to-toe. I remember he had a crazy rep against Aaron Donald against the Rams on the goal line, setting up a rushing touchdown from the goal line. He went up against Nick Bosa, locked him down. He went up against the top-tier edge rushers as a rookie, and he also was throwing people around in the run game. And if you go watch Brian Baldinger talk about Mekhi Becton, he just does not stop raving about the man. So Mekhi Becton, I think if he can stay healthy and he can be a guy that is the franchise left tackle, that's going to make that 2020 draft class a little better. Obviously, if you go down the list, Denzel Mims been a disappointment. LaMichael Pirine been a disappointment. Ashton Davis, he's going to be more of a role player. Ja'Kai Polite, I almost said. Jabari Zuniga, he's going to be more of a practice squad type of player. Cameron Clark is probably the one player on that draft class that I'm kind of really upset about because it's not only that, it's not like he's a bust. It's just he can't stay in the field. You know what I mean? It's really upsetting to see that happen. James Morgan, we all know that was a terrible pick. Braden Mann, the punter, hopefully he can be that long-term guy because I do not want to draft or sign another punter. But listen, if that 2020 draft class becomes a bust, and the only reason why it doesn't make me that upset is because, number one, it was with a completely different coaching staff in Adam Gase and Greg Williams. It was also during the pandemic year. It was also Joe Douglas's first ever draft, and there's a lot of things that went into it. And the thing that makes me feel a lot more comfortable about that draft class is what Joe Douglas did in 2021. Like, if Douglas did not have a good 2021 draft class, then I'd be getting concerned. But the fact that 2021 draft class is an absolute home run, it kind of makes me feel a little better about that. And now this draft class is going to really determine the future of Douglas when it comes to the draft. So obviously, if you look back on it, it's not that great. But we got Bryce Hall, our starting quarterback for the future in there, potentially our franchise left tackle. So hopefully those two guys can potentially be on this team long term, stay healthy. You like this? You hear the background music? Anybody notice that? Ali, do you hear it?
No, I do.
Yeah, it's a new feature. I'll turn it up a little bit. Where is it? Hold on. It's a new feature on my.
You can add music on stream right now.
Yeah, you can add music. Here, I'll turn it up a little bit. So, I'll groove out, guys. All right, Ali's gonna freestyle for us. All right, Ali, what you got for us? Let's rap about Senior Bowl and the Jets.
Rap about the Senior Bowl. I might get my credentials revoked if I rap right now.
Just having some fun, man. I don't blame you. But guys, anything else you guys want us to talk about before we end off the stream? Is there any free agency out there that you want but don't necessarily see us getting? Yeah, that's definitely Schultz for me. I feel like Schultz is going to get franchise tagged, so I don't really see us getting him. But I want us to get him really bad. Is there any free agent that you want, Ali, that you kind of don't see us getting? Devontae Adams. I mean, this question's like giving us an opportunity to say we.
Man wants like 35, right? 35 million.
35 million. Oh my gosh.
I think he does, right? It's like an absurd amount that he wants.
Stay away from that.
Yeah. No, we're not gonna give him that much money.
Mm-mm.
I'd rather trade for like Ridley.
See, this is why I love Jets fans, right? Just watch the comment about it, put it on the screen, because we have people so passionate about him, and we have people that are just so anti him, and that's Tyler Linderbaum. Like, I tweet out about Tyler Linderbaum, I got people roasting me. Richie, we do not need a center. What? People are like, yo, Linderbaum's a tank. We need to draft him. Where are you on the Tyler Linderbaum situation, Ali? And would you be okay with the Jets taking him at number 10 if he's there?
I mean, personally, I wouldn't. But then if you want to make sense with that pick, it's pretty much like we don't have a future type center, right? He would be the future type center for us. So I could see it in that perspective, but like I feel like there's just too many more holes, and I don't think that's the priority right now at number 10 to do. Even though he's a stud, yeah, I would not mind it, but I think depending on what the board looks like, I feel like there would be another player that could make a bigger impact than him.
Yeah, I think that's the two sides of the coin. Is the people that say they don't want him is we don't need a center. McGovern was a great center not great. He was a good center for us, but he did end the season off with a bad injury. Let's hope he's okay. And the other side of it is, hey, Linderbaum might not even be available at 10 because I think Linderbaum is a phenomenal prospect, and I would not be shocked if the Giants end up taking him with one of their 2 top 10 picks. And we don't even have an opportunity to take him at number 10. That's really my thoughts about it. If we get it, say, this is where I'm at with it. If the Jets make a big time move in free agency or the trade market for a receiver, whether we sign one or we trade for one, and that's the guy that we're excited about, then I'd be okay with Linderbaum at 10. If we go into the draft without that number 1 receiver, then all right, you don't take Linderbaum, you need a playmaker. So that's really where I'm at. My dream scenario is trading for a guy like, Ridley, or signing a guy in free agency that's going to be out there for wide receiver room. And then you got Thibodeau falling to us at 4. I know that's a lot of wishful thinking, and Linderbaum at 10. That's really my dream, but we'll see if that actually happens, which is probably not going to happen. But let me dream, guys, okay? Great show, man. Thank you, Finn's fan panel. Appreciate the AFC East showing some love in the chat. You all know what's good. I think people are in love with Burks because he's like Debo, but Cooper Kupp was the best player on the field yesterday. Yeah, I mean, don't we all wish we had a Cooper Kupp, right? Hello, I love Cooper Kupp. But yeah, the reason why I love Treylon Burks is because of his versatility. He has one of the biggest sized hands coming out of the draft in a while. He's like 1 inch less than Shaquille O'Neal when it comes to his hands. He's a big man. And he's physical, and he reminds me a lot of a Debo. Allen Robinson, very interesting player that I would love to see if the Jets should pursue him. Would you want the Jets to sign Allen Robinson in the free agency, Ali, because of his he's coming off a down year, so his asking price will probably not be too much. Say we get him on like a 1-year deal, would you be in or out?
No.
Out. No Allen Robinson for Ali. No. That's enough. No more talking about Allen Robinson.
That's my answer. No. I don't.
Treylon Burks is a Jet. You're right, Jets forever. I see it. Let's close your eyes. He just scored a touchdown. Back in the end zone, opening day, rookie. And we got Elijah Moore and Treylon Burks as the future of the receiver group. Iki at 4. Would you be okay with the Kwanu at number 4, Ali?
It's not a bad pick.
Yeah, I think I honestly feel like my gut tells me Ekwonu is a Jet at 4. Like my gut, and I could be wrong, right? My gut's not 100% accurate, guys, so don't roast me. But I feel like Ekwonu is going to be the pick at number 4, and Burks is going to be the pick at 10. No, but seriously, if Neal goes, if Thibodeau goes, Hutchinson go, and the Jets are there at 4, Joe Douglas is going to bring in the card, and it's going to be Ekwonu. D-Man, the content on your channel is awesome, Richie. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Big time. Big time. Really do. It means a lot. Hey, we got Broadway Jets in the stream. This is either NYJ Matt or Mike. I guess it's NYJ Matt. Top 5 wide receiver rankings are all over the place right now for this draft. Have no clue where I stand. Yeah, man, I agree. I feel like every year it's always so up and down, up and down, up and down. Ali, who's your favorite receivers in this draft class when it comes to the top? Do you love Burks? Is it Wilson? Is it outliers like even Olave or even Dotson or, Jameson Williams? I feel like Williams would be at the top, but his ACL is not doing well, obviously. And Garrett Wilson, like maybe not 1 through 5, but how you feel about this receivers?
I really do like Jahan Dotson. He's a tough player to track down. If you watch his film, when he catches the ball and takes off, he's a tough guy to catch, and I think that's kind of what the Jets need, a speedster that
speed kills.
You need a guy that can be possibly another Debo. You
think he could be a second round if we don't take a receiver in the first? Do you think he can be there for us sitting there at 35?
I honestly have a feeling he's gonna go off in the Senior Bowl, and his draft stock is gonna boost up. I really do.
I could see him going like in the 20s in the first round.
I could see the same thing with like Trey McBride, a couple other guys.
And Drake London is another receiver that I didn't even talk about who's interesting from USC.
This draft is very interesting. There's a lot of great players in this draft. I think you can get all over the board.
Let's get Trey McBride, Joe the Jet. Let's do it, man. Look at him. He's flexing right in front of Ali. Like, we need a tight end in the draft, and this is the draft class to do it. He can do everything. McBride can block. He can run routes. He can catch. Oh, man. I don't want to give him this comparison because that might be a little overkill. But he could be our George Kittle of his offense. I said it. Sorry. Garrett Wilson is this year's Justin Jefferson. Same size and speed. All right. That's a bold take from Jorge. I can see it, man. Garrett Wilson's a stud. Joe says, yes, draft 2 receivers. 1 in the first, 1 later on, as well as 2 tight ends. 1 high in the second, 1 later in the draft, maybe even 2 O-linemen or edges. We need to find answers at these positions. Yeah, Joe, for sure. I agree. What are your thoughts? Do you think the draft should be before free agency or keep it as is? This is interesting. I mean, I think there's no reason to change it up. I think basketball has it the other way, if I'm not mistaken. I think the draft comes and then free agency happens. So I understand this take when it comes to that. Richie, McBride is really that. I know, man. McBride has it all. The one thing about McBride that scares me is the Jaguars taking him with the first pick in the second round, right before us. That's my fear because they need a tight end just as much as we do. Dotson is a stud, for sure. Guys, the draft is going to be sick. We're going to be live on this channel for all 3 rounds, just like last year. First round, second round, third, fourth, all the way through 7. It's going to be a great time on the channel, so stay tuned for that. Obviously, that's like 3 months from now, but that's going to be a lot of fun. And if you guys want to help me out, I am very close to 10,000 subscribers, man. And if you're not subscribed to the channel and you're tuning into the stream right now, make sure you hit that subscribe button for your boy. I would greatly appreciate that. It means a lot. Help me get the 10K subs. That is going to be a giant milestone. I'm going to be announcing a giveaway as well whenever I do hit that milestone. So smash that sub button, and also make sure you smash that thumbs up button on your way in here if you're not already. Let's get to 100 likes. We got 76 likes with 140 of you guys watching. Let's get to 100 likes before we end off the stream, which we'll be doing in the next 10 or so minutes before we wrap things up. So smash that thumbs up button for your boy. Would greatly appreciate that big time. We got to get at least some rest. So we're going to be ending this off soon. Jared says, the Jets are taking one of Neal, Hutch, Tibbs, or Ekwonu at 4. The rest are up in the air. Yeah, I think this is kind of guaranteed in my eyes, Jared. I agree. I think at pick number 4, it's one of these 4 players. Would you agree, Ali, or do you think there's another guy that we should keep an eye on at 4?
Yeah, it's those 4.
Yeah, for sure.
But things change, man. Free agency happens, and then people don't want that guy anymore. Something happens. You never know. So.
For sure, I feel you. Neal or Ekwonu. This is interesting. I feel like we're not going to have a chance of either or not a chance, a choice. I don't think we're going to have a choice between one or the other. I think one of them will be gone, and then we're just going to have the other one, if that makes sense. I think they both bring a lot of different elements to their game. Ekwonu's more of that, light feet, but physical as hell with his arms and his strength, upper body wise. And Neal is very versatile, and he's just a big, big man, very, very dominant blocker. So I feel like Ekwonu is the better fit for this specific offense, and I'm down for Ekwonu as our franchise right tackle and Becton as our franchise left tackle and George Fant being our swing tackle. And it hurts me to say that because Fant was an absolute stud for us at left tackle. But hey, sorry, George, you're the veteran, you're the leader, and you'll be providing that depth piece in case one of our people go down. Who is your preference to upgrade right guard from free agency or the draft? This is a good question. I think we have to re-sign LDT, Larnay Duvernay Tardif. I don't think he should be the starting right guard, but for depth purposes, he needs to be brought in for sure. Zion Johnson is a guy in the draft that I'm looking out for big time. Is there anybody that you want to see from the right guard position for this year in the offseason?
I could see them going with a couple. They're definitely going to draft offensive linemen. I don't know about the right guard. I can see them maybe in the draft somewhere there. I just don't know who. I don't know who they like, honestly. I don't think they're going to go high pick, though, for a right guard.
Yeah, the only guy that I can see.
Especially with all the needs, man. There's too many needs.
I mean, there are a lot of people that are free agency.
There's a lot of talent later on for right guards as well. So
like Brandon Scherf.
You can grab like a late stud.
I'm going to pull up the list right here. So Brandon Scherf's a free agent. Andrew Norwell. I know some people are talking about him. LDT, we already know that he's a dog. Tomlinson, I think, could be a potential good fit for us. He's the right guard, I believe, for the San Francisco 49ers. And he's coming off making $5.5 million. If the Jets want to get their starting right guard, I can see them do that in free agency. He knows the system pretty well. We need depth, man, for sure. We need to acquire big time depth in free agency for the offensive line, and then acquire blue chip depth for the future in the draft. And I think that's how everything should be about it. But when it comes to Brandon Scherf, his market value is going to be like, he's coming off being franchise tagged for $18 million. I don't know if the Jets are going to be investing that much money into a right guard.
He's a risk.
He's a risk for sure, but he's a really good player. So we need to build up that O-line. Like, there's so many ways we can do it. Say we get Ekwonu at 4, and then we take say we go defense at 10, and then we get Zion Johnson in the second round. Woo! Who knows? Zion Johnson in the second round, he's our right guard next to Ekwonu at right tackle, and then we keep McGovern, and our offensive line is Mekhi Becton at left tackle, Elijah Vera-Tucker at left guard, Connor McGovern at center, Zion Johnson at right guard, and Ekwonu at right tackle with George Fant as the swing tackle and LDT as the backup interior offensive lineman. Did I just solve the offensive line, guys? Hype in the chat. You already know what's good. I kind of like that now that I just bring that up. Cam Clark is a fan favorite, and we all route for him. But truth be told, he was not developing and is not going to be part of this team in the future based on lack of development. I don't think you can say this, Joe. I don't know how you can say that because we've never seen him on the field. So I don't know how we can say he's not developing. He had a very unfortunate injury in training camp where his neck was injured and he was out for the season. So I don't know how that is what tells you he had lack of development. If he was healthy and he was not playing, then yeah, you have a point. But I don't know. I just feel like the injuries is what really held him back. Zion Johnson would be a steal in the second, no doubt. Should we take Kyle Hamilton at number 4? I am personally not on board with taking Kyle Hamilton at number 4. I think the Jets need to focus on the trenches with that 4th pick, and we cannot afford taking a playmaker that high when we do not have a dominant offensive line or a dominant defensive line yet. What's your thoughts about Kyle Hamilton at number 4, Lee?
It's really hard to predict, man. I hate doing the predictions so early just because I'm like, Hamilton's a good player, but like, is that what we really, really need?
Yeah, like obviously we know we have a big need at safety, but when it comes to positional value and having the 4th pick, it has to be a trench player. It has to be an offensive line or an edge rusher, in my opinion.
Like there's a lot of top corners and safeties that come in the first round. Yeah, I get it. I do get it. But is that something that we're going to like pull a trigger on? I don't know if they really want to, but I feel like that would be a long shot and kind of like a head scratcher.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. I don't see Joe Douglas taking the safety at number 4. I really genuinely just don't. I know a lot of Jets fans are falling in love with him because he is a beast, but he's not gonna. No. I think the way that the Jets should go about it, in my opinion, for the safety position, is you sign a guy in free agency, like a Marcus Williams, like a Jesse Bates, like a Reed. I mean, there's a lot of good safeties available in free agency, and then you draft one like in the 2nd or 3rd round. And then that's your starting safeties. You got the rookie that you draft, and you got your veteran that you paid a lot of money to in free agency. Does that sound like a good way to address the safety position? Mm-hmm. Ali, would you agree with that, or do you want them to sign, like draft 2 or sign 2? Or I think we give one the bag and we draft one early in round 2 or 3, and that's the starting tandem.
Yeah, I would go grab one in free agency, and then maybe grab even 2 in the draft.
Damn, yo, Broadway Jets, not even subscribed, bro. Had him on the channel multiple times, and you're not even subbed. I'm unsubscribing to your channel, and I'm unsubscribing to your amazing podcast on Apple Music, on Apple and Spotify. What a disgrace. Nah, I'm just kidding, Broadway. It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. But all right, guys, so we're going to start wrapping up the stream here. My camera's going to die any second, so if you see a black screen, my apologies. But this was a great stream. We were live for an hour and a half. Expect live streams every single Monday, leading all the way throughout the off season. And this week is going to be the Senior Bowl. We're going to try to get a lead back on the channel sometime this week, maybe Wednesday. I think that's what we talked about. We'll see what your schedule is like, Ali, so we can get inside info what's going on during the Senior Bowl. Make sure you guys follow Ali on all your social media platforms if you want to be well in tune with what's going on during the Senior Bowl on Twitter and Instagram. That's at Loyal NY Jet Fans, of course. And you know what to expect here on Jets Media. I'll be posting all content, reporting about the Senior Bowl, of course, the NFL Draft, the free agency, speculations, recapping what happened last year, all the great stuff about the New York Jets here on Jets Media. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm trying to get the 10K subs by free agency, and I'm very close. Hopefully I get there beforehand. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate all the support. You guys are phenomenal. Make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button as well. Did we get to 100 yet? We got 90 likes, not 100, Ali. We can't get to 100. I can't believe it. It's okay. We'll get to 100 eventually. Am I right? Let's see it. Let's see 100 likes before the stream ends, and then we'll end it off. Ali, anything you'd like to say before we end off the stream, and what you're looking forward to in terms of the Senior Bowl in the next couple days?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to finally be like out there again. I remember the last media thing I did was with the Jets at Jets training camp. And then finally getting it done with the COVID hopefully dying down a little bit more. But yeah, no, I'm gonna see just see different people that I know. I'm pretty sure Gary Vee is gonna be there, so if I see him, I'll probably go meet him.
Lucky.
But it's awesome. It's awesome to finally be around. Even when the football season's over for the Jets, you're somehow involved watching football and regarding the Jets, so it's pretty cool. My first experience with this, traveling for like reporting, so it's been a pretty cool experience so far. It's been exhausting, but the next few days are gonna be fun. They're really gonna be fun. Tomorrow, that's when it really starts. It starts tomorrow up till Thursday, and then the game's Saturday. So I really can't wait. I really can't wait.
Yeah, man, I cannot wait as well. And good luck to everything that goes your way in the Senior Bowl. If you meet Gary Vee, tell him I said thank you for following me on Twitter, and tell him to answer his DM so I can get him on the show. One more super chat we'll get into. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the dono. Very generous of you today. Note Thibodeau, trade for, grab a Jabo or Johnson, Lloyd and Dean, top cornerback round 1, McKitchy and McBride round 2. Hey, Mike, I like the way you're thinking. You're getting creative with this. You're getting very creative when it comes to this. But, hey, I guess this means if Thibodeau is not available at 4, you trade up back, or you just don't even take Thibodeau at 4, and then you take one of the edge rushers in the Jabo and Johnson. You take a linebacker and then a cornerback. So, listen, there's so many different routes that we're going to go into this offseason, and there goes my battery. Just so you guys know what my other battery looks like. You guys get an inside look. Look how bad this one is. Oh, hey, here I am. Different camera. We are literally 1 like away from 100. Who wants to be the 100th like? Who wants to be it? I'll give you a shout out. Who wants to be the 100th like? Does it have to be Elite? Maybe Elite didn't even like it.
I have, actually.
I'm just kidding. All right. There we go. 101. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate all the support. You guys are awesome. We're going to be posting live videos throughout the entire week. We're going to be making crazy Jets content. Appreciate all the support. This offseason is going to be awesome. And I wouldn't want to go through it with anybody else but you guys. Appreciate it. Let's go Jets. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.